Alright, so welcome back to the second class of camera roll. So if you're joining me for the first time or you're just joining this class, please go and look for the part 1 of camera roll, where I basically explained all the basic functions of all these tools right here. Up next is explaining all this. So this is the basic that we've explained. Then the next one, oh sorry for the notification, I'm going back. I told you to go. Okay, sorry to do that. So the next one is the crop tool. So you can use the crop tool to remove the unwanted part of the image, then press enter to apply it, and that is that. The next one is what? The spot removal tool. Then I'm going to zoom in this picture, opportunity press Z, then zoom it in, and then click my spot removal tool. So to remove spot, you use the spot removal tool. So there's a spot here which is a pimple. I'm going to click on it, automatically just find a perfect replacement for itself. Then I'll just keep on clicking like that. So in situation whereby sometimes Photoshop will just mistakenly pick a part that you don't want, you can easily correct it. Or let's assume I don't want it to pick this bright area. I will just basically just carry this one and bring it back. You know, I believe you understand. So I don't like the place is sampled. I'll bring it here. I prefer that place. You know, I'll use my hand to bring your hand to. You press down your shift button, then you bring this hand, then you can use it to drag your picture around. So to increase your spot removal tool, you can easily do it here. Increase the size if you increase the size, see how big it is now. If I decrease it, you see how small it is. Or basically you can just do it with your keyboard by pressing the left bracket key. You're reducing it. By pressing the right bracket key, you are reducing it. You're increasing it. I beg your pardon. And that is that about that. So Command or Control Z O to take it back. You see all the spots at the front. Those are the places we've treated. So when I move to the next tool, which is the adjustment brush, I will zoom in again, then teach you the purpose of the adjustment brush. For the sake of this class, basically what I use the adjustment brush for most times is to whiten the eyes of my model. So I'm going to zoom in more. Then pick up my adjustment tool. Shortcut for adjustment tool is K. Then I'm going to brush. I'm just going to use it to brush. Watch that as I'm brushing, you do not see any changes. But if you see any changes, that means you're not following, or you actually, I think you've seen changes, but you shouldn't see changes because it's a fresh class. My mouse is messing me up. I didn't come on with my Wacom tablet and I'm recording these in my bedroom. Yeah. So you didn't see any changes now. So what next I'm going to do is to zoom out, then effect the changes by increasing this. You see, this is the part. I'm going to zoom in again so you can see the part I brushed. Those parts I brushed now when I increase the exposure, the exposure will only apply to the part where I brushed. When I reduce the exposure, it's going to, so when I take it back to default, you see what happens. So I'm just going to increase my exposure a little to brighten the eyes and reduce saturation. Automatically just makes the white eyes white. That's how I do eyes whitening for my pictures. This alone is a class on its own. It's actually simple and you guys already good for it, so I can tell your shit secret. So up next is talking about gradient filter. So what it's gonna do is this. I hardly use this gradient filter, but watch what I'm going to do with this gradient filter right now. I'm going to come here to this part and I'm going to desaturate it. So just drag it in, then bring in dark black. So it's going to fill in black from this point and fill it to this side. So I'm going to desaturate to that side. This is just freestyle for me, yeah. And I'm going to press V to take it away. So you see what happens. It has introduced black from this side to this side of the image. You understand? So if I increase it, if I increase the point more, is going to keep on bringing in that shadow. That shadow. You understand? So that is how you can also play with dynamism in your picture, and that's function of the gradient filter. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to return this back to default and take it back also to default. So the next one is what I really use these days, because there's this light called the snoot light. A lot of photographers use it now, but I'm not interested in purchasing it because I already can do what the snoot light can do for you in production. I can already do it in camera or in post production, so I don't buy the snoot light. So what is what this do you know this is a gradient filter? This is also what a radial filter. So this is more circle. So I'm going to create it and bring it by pressing down my space bar. I can move it around. So I will release my space bar and leave it there. So I will now reduce my exposure just like that. I will now invert it. I'll just leave it the way it is. No, I will invert it. So by reducing my exposure, is applying black to the outside part of this particular radiant filter. When I increase my exposure, is basically now what's happening is whatever I do is affecting outside the circle, but it's not affecting the inside the circle. However, there is a bit of feather in, so I can increase or decrease my feather. By feather means it's like the feather of a chicken. From the center of the feather is hard, then to the outside part becomes softer. That is why it's called feather. So when I feather this effect, means that I want it to be softer. I want it to be hard from the middle, then soft at the end, and that is that about that. So if you know how to use this, it can also be a plus. So I'm gonna basically just delete. I'll just delete it. And that's that. Then up next is what red eye removal. I don't do it. I don't use it. Snapshot. I'm not sure I've used it before. Then presets. Okay, so basically I have my presets. I have color one. I have dramatic key. I have soft. Then I used to have wedding. Something wrong with it. I used to have wedding preset. Then summer. I used to have wedding preset. I really don't know what happened to my wedding preset. Something must have happened to my wedding preset. So most of the time I hardly edit my wedding pictures. I just put the wedding preset and then I put it on. Now watch this color one. I mean, it's beautiful on this image already. The white is white. Color grading is perfect. Sketch is dramatic. There's vignette in the dramatic. These are my personal preset, and that is. I don't know what's wrong with my wedding preset. Probably just re-edit it. Get it back. And that is that about the second part of this image of this tutorial. If you've not watched the first part, this part will not make a lot of sense to you, but if you take your time and watch the first part, this part is going to make a lot of sense to you. I believe you understand. Thank you so much for joining the class. I'm so dehydrated. I need water. Water is good. Water is good. Okay, so basically basic is where every of the drama happens, where you can balance your white balance, get your exposure right, increase vibrance, saturation, and where also I really do touch is what the color mixer, where I just increase red, increase yellow, make all the color pop. Then basically that is it. Then I use a lot of adjustment layer. I told you this adjustment layer is what I use to brighten up the teeth and the white of my model. Then sometimes I use this radial filter just to introduce black to a part in a circular form, and that is that about that. So thank you for joining this class. I believe you understand everything I'm saying. And if you don't understand, hit me up in the comment section or on WhatsApp, then we are going to have a good conversation about anything you don't understand. Thank you and God bless.